Hey, everybody. Welcome to a truly off-the-cuff Friday edition of Rocked On Detroit Lions, Episode 3, Off the Cuff. And we're getting into it today because the NFL has decided to come down hard on the Detroit Lions and another player around the league. I believe played for Washington, Tony. And we're going to get into what happened. I mean, it's just unbelievable that the Lions are having this meteoric rise to fame, an incredible offseason. And then we get the news on a Friday that Jamison Williams and three other Detroit Lions have been terminated and or suspended due to gambling. According to the league policy prohibits players from gambling on NFL games, the draft, or other activities, and from taking part in any form of gambling while at the league or a team facility or while traveling with the team. Though the NFL has allowed players to gamble on non-NFL sports, league or team employees are also forbidden to do so. And with that said, it also came apparent today that the Detroit Lions had let go several of its staff last month due to the same reason. So Brad Holmes knew that this was coming down the pike. It was only a matter of time before the news was going to be released and everybody was going to have to deal with it. The NFL did know, on a good note, that there was no evidence indicating that any inside information had been shared or used to compromise any games during the events of gambling or players betting. And again, to reiterate, no NFL games were bet on by these players. It was other sports unrelated to the NFL. So, like I said, the Lions, they became aware of this about a month ago. They let some staff go. And today we found out the dreaded result of the NFL probe. Williams is now suspended for the first 6 games of the 2023 NFL season. He is able to take part in team activities. He's able to practice. He's able to go through camp, and he's also able to get through preseason games. He just can't start the season. We have not heard anything by ways of any sort of an appeal yet, but as soon as we find out, we'll be more than happy to let everybody know. The interesting statement from Brad Holmes. I mean, I can only imagine how long he's been holding this in and how much of this draft process has really been affected by this, pending information or this pending probe by the NFL. And I guess we'll find out next Thursday. It's definitely going to change the way I feel. And I'm sure the way a lot of others feel as to how the Lions are going to need to attack this draft now. But let me read you a statement by Brad Holmes, from earlier today. He said, as a result of an NFL investigation, it came to our attention that a few of our players had violated the league's gambling policy. Detroit general manager Brad Holmes, he said that in a statement earlier today. He also said that these players exhibited decision-making that is not consistent with our organizational values, and it violates the league's rules. We have made the decision to part ways with Quintez and CJ Moore immediately. We are disappointed by the decision-making demonstrated by Stanley and Jamison, and we will work with both players to ensure they understand the severity of these violations and have clarity on the league rules moving forward. I will say that we all get inundated with constant messages from the apps that we choose to have on our mobile devices. I could say that it's probably pretty easy for somebody to make a boneheaded move and they get a notification and it happens to be a betting app and they forgot to, make their bet. You get reminded of that all the time. And then you make your bet. Unfortunately, you are in a team facility, and undoubtedly the NFL has some sort of control here. They know what IP addresses belong to who. I'm sure they've got relationships with all of these conglomerates, within the Vegas or gambling community. To know that, hey, if any action is taken from these IP addresses and these team facilities, we need to know about it. I wouldn't even, I wouldn't be afraid to say that there's not some sort of tracking, put on the players' phones, or if players are given team phones, company phones, if you will, that there's not some sort of a tracking, IP tracking or activity tracking on it. Who knows? There was a statement that came out also by Williams' agent. I'm a little discouraged by this because it seems like Jameson Williams has no issue going to social media for the things that he wants or the things that, he's excited about. He did not come to the table today to apologize, not only to his team. He probably did it in person. I hope he did. I can only imagine the conversation he had with Brad Holmes today. But, to make everybody aware, from a fan perspective, hey, I screwed up. I apologize. But we get to hear it from, Williams' agent instead, where he says, or she says, Jameson takes full responsibility for his actions, and he is very apologetic to the NFL, his teammates, and the fans in city of Detroit. And however, it is important to note that Jameson's violation was not for betting on football, but rather due to a technical rule regarding the actual location in which the online bet was placed, and which would otherwise be allowed by the NFL outside the club's facility. Jameson would never intentionally jeopardize the integrity of the game he loves so much and looks forward to getting back to his team as soon as possible. Well, thank you for that, agent of Jameson Williams. We would still love to hear from Mr. Williams himself. Again, it's a boneheaded move. I mean, it's things that shouldn't happen. You've got to be smarter than this. The Lions are ready. They're poised. They're ready to take the North and beyond, and we need every bit of ammo that we can get. I don't care that, what the mouth breather tells us. Like I said before, I want to hear it from Jameson himself. Well, what happens next? That's the story, right? Where do the Lions go from here? Well, I can tell you what's going to happen to Jameson, and it's not good. Jameson Williams' suspension is very costly. He will forfeit $382,906 in salary, and he could be subject to bonus forfeiture of a little over $862,000. And if the Lions have the ability to recover any bonus money due to this suspension, Williams is also, his remaining salary, all of his remaining salary guarantees are void, which totals $6.87 million. You want to talk about hurting the pocket? This kid could potentially lose everything that he just signed up for. 5.3 million of that is attributed to 2024 and 2025. So his future salary is in jeopardy here. He's going to have to play for it. What's Moore going to lose? CJ Moore. This is a tough one, guys. He's a bulldog on our special teams. The guy was just amazing in every aspect of the special teams play. To lose somebody like that, just signed a 2-year, $4.5 million deal. Good deal. He had $3 million in guarantees. Now all of his guarantees will be void, and the only thing that could be in consideration for Detroit is that they paid out $1.4 million in signing bonus. So we'll see what happens, but my feeling is that the Lions will have about a $700,000 cap charge for him in 2023, with a large credit due in 2024. So to recap that, Jameson Williams is set to lose all of his guarantees in his contract, about 6.87 million worth. That's set to hit in 2024 and 2025. CJ Moore is going to lose his entire contract. The Lions will have a $700,000 cap charge in 23 and a credit coming back in 24. Cephas, he didn't really lose a ton. I mean, $1 million is a lot. I'd love to have $1 million hitting in my bank account tomorrow, but he's going to lose it all. The Lions will end up with a $76,000 dead cap charge this year. Stanley Berryhill, I didn't get into his salary and what's going to happen to him. Again, it's probably this, quite similar to Cephas. He doesn't have a large contract. The Lions did retain Stanley Berryhill. Not sure why. I quite honestly have not seen much out of the guy since he's been in Detroit. But we'll see what happens there after the draft and after camp. So getting back to the bigger question, are the Lions going to take a receiver now early? You kind of almost have to, right? I mean, you'd put all your eggs into one basket with Jameson Williams last season, moving up in that 12th spot to take him. and the guy is a season and a half gone. You've paid him now for a season and a half. You're not going to get anything for it. And who knows what's going to happen after the fact. But Brad Holmes is looking like a genius right now, so we thought, signing Marvin Jones. I mean, that roster spot that he filled with Marvin Jones could be critical for the Lions to start the 2023 season. Right now you're looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown and Marvin Jones sliding at 1 and 2 with Josh Reynolds, rounding out the top 3 spots. Behind them, we still need some help. You've got Khalif Raymond, who he was a dog last year. He did a great job, but he's a rotational player. He's a role player. He's not somebody that's going to go out and get you 1,000 yards and a bunch of touchdowns. He's going to serve his purpose. He's going to get us some first downs. He's going to play a significant role when he's in, but he's not somebody to look to be, the end zone threat, the deep threat that we need. Williams' suspension likely means that Marvin Jones is now going to be in that top spot next to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Man, I just can't get over the fact that this news dropped today. I really just wanted to have a quick one and share with everybody what happened. I really think the Lions are going to have to take a wide receiver early, but we'll see what happens. Brad Holmes, he works his magic. We did fine without Williams last season, but we also had DJ Shark at the same time. And that was the difference. So we'll see what happens, guys. We're still going to stay gritty. We're still going to stay, all over our Lions. We love them. We know where they're headed. We're not going to let a little hiccup trip up our step. So go Lions. We'll see y'all. This is it for Friday's edition. Truly breaking news off the cuff edition. We'll see y'all next week for the NFL live show. Check the Facebook pages and all the other socials for the upcoming notifications. You'll have them. There'll be events created. We're going to be giving away some cool stuff, guys, so make sure you be there. We got something for your wife too, or your girlfriend. We know how much time you spend away from them. We got them covered. We'll see y'all next week.